On the troll.
Hello and welcome to Mzansi. We are here today to talk about a topic that has been bothering Emily for a long time, for days, right? Emily, what is that topic?
I wouldn't say it's a topic, but this will begin a conversation of how Mnisi is under so much scrutiny.
Yes.
I haven't thought of a title yet. I haven't thought of anything, but there's a lot I need to get off my chest because I feel like there's some kind of a smear campaign, some kind of a let's get Mnisi into trouble type of stamina going on. It's very disturbing and concerning. The last time when it was happening against Advocate Ngome Zulu, I was very much on the fence and I tried being objective, right? And I was trying to be like sober and I was trying to be not emotional, right? But then we did see the bullying. Did we not see the bullying?
We did.
We saw the deliberate degrading of his profession as if he's not fit, just because he's calling for certain witnesses to come and testify, just because he's going with the theory that is the defense that most people who have been following the case before it even stood trial knew these details coming from Senzo Meiwa's father. They knew these details, some of them coming from social media. They knew some of these details coming to people who were alleging and were close to the situation. And when you see some of the receipts unfold in court, especially via the docket of 375, you see that there was something to those things that people were saying that were just on social media. And how Ngome Zulu was crafting the defense for accused number one was more in line with what a majority of people believed to be the truth. Do you understand what I'm saying?
No, I hear you.
So now we have a situation where Advocate Mnisi, who is being paid by legal aid, is expected to perform miracles under a short space of time.
Yeah.
And people are riding this wave of trying to degrade him, trying to make him feel bad. One would say it's a psychological warfare for him at this point. I have no idea where he is and what he's doing. But if I put myself in his shoes, Mr. Anonymous, I'm disturbed.
Yeah.
I'm disturbed by the remarks I'm seeing on social media. People are calling him lazy. People are like, black lawyers are like this. People are going back to that narrative that Judge Ratam Khwatleng wanted to present and that he got heavily criticized for saying certain things. People are not considering how resourceful Advocate Mnisi is. They are not thinking, they are comparing him, Nabo Kherinel, and all these high profile lawyers.
Yeah.
It's like the resources that they have is the same resources that Advocate Mnisi is exposed to. One would say, 2 months, 40,000 pages for a lawyer, it's nothing. That estimated means 500 pages per day. And they're saying that Advocate Mnisi must just read through and skim and just pick whatever is relative. Like Bafuna Ayenze, you know, when you didn't prepare properly for a test.
Yeah.
And you know that if I focus on certain things, at least I'll get 50%.
Yeah.
That's what they want him to do. They want him to wing it. They want him to just jinx it, and the pressure that they're putting him under is something that I don't enjoy watching. Especially from people who have no idea what is happening when it comes to preparing for a case. Or crafting a cross-examination of a very important witness. People forget that Brigadier Gininda is a crucial witness.
Yeah, he is.
He's not a witness you can just wing it with. You can just be like, let me improvise with. No. Even Advocate Ngome Zulu, God rest his soul, he was preparing for Brigadier Gininda. He prepared.
Yes, he did.
So I don't understand this bullying that people are imposing on Advocate Mnisi to just perform miracles.
Okay.
And to say that by 2 months he should have been done reading 40,000 pages. I don't understand it. It's disturbing.
It is unfair, but I did. I mean, we remember we were skeptical about Mngomezulu taking accused number
one.
Mnisi. Mnisi, sorry. We were really skeptical because of many reasons, but it seems as if the power of media again is being used, in my opinion, where you see certain journalists who have become commentators now. They are no longer journalists. No. They are no longer interested in being journalists. They are just commentators as we are.
Yeah.
At least, we didn't go to school for this thing.
No.
No.
So. And we don't get paid.
Yeah.
By a company. Except for YouTube, but we wouldn't consider what we do anywhere close to what they are supposed to do as journalists, bringing the news.
No, it is scary, what is currently happening. In a sense, people are saying people must gamble with someone's life.
Yes.
And that is not fair. That is...
What has he been doing? He's lying. He can't even say how far he is. He said he cannot say how far he is because the transcripts are for a day. They are not numbered pages 1 to 40,000. They are numbered for the day.
Yeah.
So for one court appearance, you'll find that it's 90 pages. He was giving an example. Right? It's 90 pages for a particular day. Maybe it can be 50 for another day. It can be... This is 2 years of a court appearance that he is expected to just browse through under 2 months and nip and pick and nip and pick and nick and pick.
I'm scared for him because now it seems as if he's forced now to actually do some of these things, like representing accused number one. It seems as if he's forced now. There are people who are making noise. If you don't do this will happen.
Yes.
It is not fair. It is not fair for him to go through all this. And I'm hoping that he's not in social media and he's going to take a decision whether he's being threatened through some what, because there's always this what is it called? LPC. Yes. And I think many lawyers are scared of that part. Because it actually, in a sense, decides your livelihood, with how you live your life. So I hope that he's not going to follow or end up doing something that is not good for accused number one just because he's trying to please people. I hope. That's my hope.
The right now, I feel like it's like he's in between a rock and a hard place. That's where they have placed him. Or that's where he is placed. It's not by his own doing. Remember what had happened prior to Mnisi being appointed by accused number one. It felt like accused number one was not even being given a choice of whether he needed to look outside for another lawyer.
It seems as if it was not a choice.
Yes.
It seemed like that. And
we
right.
even talked about it. We're like, but this thing doesn't feel okay where accused number one now is being told that it would be best for him to pick one of the 4. In my opinion and my preference, if I was in his shoes, I wouldn't have wanted either of them. I remember even vocalizing this at the time. I would have preferred for him to get a totally different lawyer, and if he's lucky, can it be one of no color? That's depending on his luck. But it didn't turn out that way. Instead, they managed to, one would say, massage him into going to the direction of selecting one from the current presiding legal practitioners in the court, the defense. And they said it would be easier that way because if a new lawyer was going to come, remember they were estimating times like 6 months or more, or 1 year of that new lawyer needing to go through the transcripts.
Yes.
and that would come from his bill. That legal aid were saying that it would be best for him so that he doesn't run out of funding to select one of the lawyers that are currently in the case, that are in line, that already know what is happening with the case.
Yes.
So now Mnisi, as he's reading through these transcripts, he's finding out maybe new information, or maybe he needs to change direction to where Mgomezulu was going with accused number one's defense.
Yes.
We don't know. But he's not being given the opportunity to produce a cross-examination that is his in a timely manner.
Yeah.
He has not confirmed nor denied whether he had access to Mgomezulu's notes.
Yeah.
In fact, he preferred not to use Mgomezulu's notes. So that means he's starting all from scratch, drafting a cross-examination for accused number one. That might be the possibility, even though we are not sure.
You know, I've realized few things in South Africa. Recently, we had a ruling that seemed to, in a sense, exonerating Omotoso.
Yes.
That ruling, it had me scratching my head, because one can say a fair judge did, in fact, say things that were crucial about that case.
Yes.
But then it then raised a question in my mind, which even if there is that evidence which Lomuntu is guilty, but just because of how the case was presented, it therefore exonerate that person. More so, so you are looking now at Mnisi struggling with accused number one's way of defense, or in fact point of defense. Don't you think that might create the situation similar to that, but in this case for accused number one going to jail?
It might.
If Mnisi was to be complacent
With what
with
the
what
pressure that
he's
he's been given, yes.
and then he ends up giving to this pressure, and there's many journalists that are talking about these things, and these so-called lawyers that are going on media, on mainstream media, and saying things that even themselves they've never done. In my opinion, they might be experts, but I don't think they have been through what Nis is currently going through. It's a different scenario.
Yes.
So you do foresee a judge in this case, which we already are skeptical about, in my opinion. You do foresee him saying, due to a certain way that accused number one was represented, and how the state has been consistently presenting their case in a certain way. Therefore, accused number one is found guilty for that. You know, you do.
The judge in Omotoso's case did the same thing.
Yes.
A researcher for Judges Matter, Begezeli Benjamin, even made comments about Omotoso's case. I was shocked that everybody was shocked, including the reporters and everybody who's supposed to have been bringing the news, analyzing Omotoso's case for us so that we better understand that are in the legal fraternity. Everybody was just shocked at the verdict on the last day after 8 years of this case being on trial.
Yes.
And I was like, but how come you guys are shocked? If you've been following that case, you knew already, you could estimate that, you know, he might get off.
Yes.
How come everybody was so shocked? But then Begezeli of Judges Matter, which I'm going to talk about again later on, he was saying that with regards to Omotoso's case, it was very wrong for the judge to have blamed the NPA, blamed the prosecutors for presenting a poor cross-examination. She said the onus was on her as a judge if she felt like the lawyers, the prosecutors were not doing a proper examination for her to cross-examine, for her to ask questions.
Pertinent questions.
He was literally saying that what Judge Ratam Khwatleng is doing in the Senzo Meyiwa trial is what that judge should have done.
Yes.
And I don't know how I felt about that. It
Well,
might be the
how
case.
did you feel? How did you feel?
It might be the case, but literally what I feel he was saying was that the judge needed to do the job of the prosecutors. Here's the thing with Omotoso's case. The prosecutors did not even try to do a cross-examination. She said for the presentation of the cross-examination, they were given 2 days. She gave an example of what had happened with one of the cross-examinations that was supposed to happen, where they were given, she was expecting that the cross-examination would take 2 days, and they didn't even take an hour of that crucial witness that they were supposed to cross-examine. So this judge was supposed to go on for 2 days conducting her own cross-examination.
I agree with the writer in this case. Rob versus Hepworth. A judge is not a referee.
So you are saying that that judge should have cross-examined herself?
A judge is also there to make sure that people account. You know, yes, we might have a person who's incompetent, but you see, I mean, according to her judgment, you see there is meat into this. You know, there is a bit of merit into this. What did you do as a judge to probe that? You know, did you probe that for the sake of law? You are not doing this guy a favor. For the sake of law, you feel that this person is guilty. I mean, in a sense, that's what that judge was saying. He feels that there's a case to answer for, but he didn't do anything in terms of probing that and also clear, so that when you go make a judgment, you know what Omotoso lied here and here if he did lie. You know if he didn't lie, But to wait for the lawyers to do their job and then you're like, okay, let me go and judge.
No,
It's
I
like
fault her. I'm sorry.
It's like in the ring. It's like now we are in a ring of a boxing. You wait for people to hit each other, and then after that you combine the points. You're like, okay, the score of highest point is this one. No, that's not how law is supposed to be. Even if you watch in Americans.
So what that Judge Ratam Kwatling is doing is correct, according to you?
There is a difference from what you see in Rata's court than what you should be seeing. There, it is one-way street. It never, for example, when the questions are asked on the people who are testifying for the states, it's more like, I want you to repeat, put the significance in this point and this point and this point. It's not to seek clarity
but
and get the reality.
Question, before he puts an opinion, asking a question, he says, for my clarity or
no,
for
but
a clarity,
that, in my opinion,
clarity.
In my opinion, that is what, I mean, systems are there, but abusing those systems also is there. You can abuse them for the sake of seeking clarity. I think you've been traumatized by the manner in which you've been treated in Rata's court.
Yes, I'm very much traumatized.
There are situations
and
where
I would rather not have a judge imposing what they feel is an opinion that they have regarding a person that they choose.
It's not an opinion. It's not an opinion in
so
this case.
So if the prosecutors failed to cross-examine,
yes,
what is a judge supposed to do? The judge is supposed to now
you
enter
are finished
the arena.
with all the evidence.
It's supposed to enter the arena now and conduct
what
an
arena,
aggressive cross-examination on behalf of prosecutors.
What do you do at home when you have kids, 2 kids that are fighting, your kids are fighting? You want to find the truth of why they're fighting.
Well, the judge did.
You let the other one explain, and if the other one can over-explain the other one, then that one becomes the truth for you, or you probe to get the real truth.
But here's the thing that you are failing to understand. in this example or scenario, the judge had nothing to work with. If you're going to say I'm asking clarity seeking questions and then you enter and you do
Why
the job
would you
of the
not have-
prosecutors by cross-examining from point A to point B,
If he had
that
nothing
is
to
you
work,
basically doing their job.
if he had nothing to work with, why would he have a judgment like that? Why would you put a judgment like that that says, okay, I feel like you left certain things that you should have asked, in my opinion, as a judge? Why would you say things like that?
You left out certain questions that you should have.
You should have asked.
That you should have asked.
That's an impression that I'm getting from that judgment. It was saying, okay, there were certain things that you should have asked, but you didn't ask them. So that means
so
that
that's the judge's fault.
You're not getting me. I'm not saying it is a judge's fault that happened. But when you are brave enough to say in your judgment there were things that you felt they were not canvassed properly. So therefore,
they were not canvassed at all.
Listen. Therefore, you feel that yes, there might be something to answer for, but you're letting that person go. That if you go read that judgment.
You know what the tricky thing about it as well is that there's a whistleblower who passed on just before that case concluded.
I see all that.
So you are telling me that judge should have entered the arena.
I think
and conducted a cross-examination.
There is a better way of putting these things. I think you haven't. Okay, let me put it like this: you
on
go
behalf
to
of prosecutors.
You go to Supreme Courts. Have you ever watched Bodalimbofu?
But there, it's because cross-examinations have been conducted, and then they come in at the end based on cross-examination that was done.
Yes.
They have questions. You can see that they were drafting them on that date, on that day, as they were listening to the cross-examination.
Yes.
So they come in at the end with clarity for themselves.
When it's heads of arguments.
With clarity for themselves.
But in this case, this is a criminal case. You cannot, obviously, the other ones, they do find that normally there is no witnesses or whatsoever. It's just an argument. And then the judge would come in. Sometimes we would feel that, hey, that judge was really robust with this lawyer and all. It is normal to do that.
So what Ratam Khatling is doing is normal. He always has said
it is, yes,
normal.
It is normal. But all I'm saying is that with Rata, it seems to lack balance. He never goes the other way around. It's normally one way. There's like rubber stamping everything that was said by the prosecutor. That is how that is my opinion. That is how I feel. Okay. Balance it. Hit this side and hit this side, but the most important thing at the end of the day, you must arrive at the truth, at what happened.
So after that court appearance with Mnisi announcing that he was going to need more time and the judge being infuriated and upset with him, there was also comments that were asked of Mbegezeli Benjamin of Judges Matter. Now, he's a researcher as well as an advocate. That's what he calls himself, advocate of judge, advocacy officer. So he speaks on behalf of judges. From my experience of watching commentaries or commentators or commentary that he makes on these cases, usually he speaks on the conduct of judges. So with regards to what happened when the judge was upset with Mnisi on last week Monday, this is what he had to say. Mr. Anonymous, please play the clip for us.
Which one is of the two?
The first one.
Mbegezeli.
I did say that I would ask about two particular cases. Finally, and quickly if you can, the Senzo Meyiwa murder case. It was meant to start today once again, but it's seen another postponement because the lawyer that is meant to now assume the case for accused number one, who lost his lawyer in December, simply said he had not had enough time within the 2 months that he was given to read 40,000 pages of this particular case, much to the frustration of Judge Racha Mokgwatleng. The kind of stance that this judge should take in that matter, again, to restore this waning public confidence.
Well, in this case, it was quite correct for Judge Mokgwatleng to essentially read the Riot Act to Advocate Mnisi to say he must either come next to Tuesday being prepared for the trial to run, or there must be other means that are devised for the case to run. But this is, again, another common trend where we're seeing people on the day of the court case, they change lawyers, or sometimes the lawyers say that they are not ready. It is unacceptable, and in fact, it is in some ways unethical for a lawyer to wait until 2 months have gone by, 3 months have gone by, and say that they are not ready to proceed in a case that they have been involved for well over 3 years. Again, it is something that unfortunately judges or magistrates are really limited in terms of the kinds of interventions that can be made. But perhaps it is time that the legal profession should also start speaking out in some of these cases, because, like I said, some of these points are because the lawyers involved are taking really unmeritorious points in order to delay proceedings. And that for us is a concern, and the legal community should really start speaking about it.
Bigazeli Benjamin, a senior researcher at Judges Matter. Thank you very much.
Yes, those are the comments that Mbeki had. Mr. Anonymous, what do you think? Is he on to something? Does he have a point?
No, he's totally wrong when it comes to this. He first assumes that Mnisi was representing accused number one all along. The fact that Mnisi was there, it does not necessarily mean that he was representing accused number one. For starters, I mean, initially, when they tried to avoid taking a lawyer from outside, their arguments were such that it might even take longer for that lawyer to be acquainted with this case. I don't see anything wrong with Mnisi trying to figure out what Ngomezulu was doing and also constructing his way of defense. There is just this assumption that is wrong, and entitlement that is wrong. Mnisi has a right to represent accused number. It's not like he's actually delaying with accused number three that he's been representing all along. No, he is. We are talking about someone new here. We are talking about someone very new, and I mean, the manner in which these people were arrested is totally different. There are a lot of things that are different. There is so-called confession, for example, with this person, and there are many other things that this person had to go through, and there is even contestation of that confession. We all know. So those are two different cases. Those are two different people, and with facing two different challenges. Yes, it might be a common case, but what they are facing is totally different. I don't understand why.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah, it is.
And also the disregard for the fact that, yes, it's been 3 years he's been sitting on the case. But when he's listening to everything happening in that case for the past 3 years, he was listening in terms of his client, which was accused number 3. I saw the judge trying to use the fact that they cross-examined everyone on behalf of everyone. There was a time when they would cross-examine other witnesses just for their own clarity-seeking purposes, and the judge was using it against Mnisi this time around to say that no, but you would cross-examine with a witness that did not even talk about accused number 3. And I allowed it. And I like, you have no choice to allow it because they are all charged with common purpose. Why is the judge making it seem like they have different charges? Like accused number 3 is only having the charge of handling a firearm or having a firearm, and the one who did the shooting. While everybody from accused 1 to 5 are literally having the same charges against them before that court. All of them are charged with murder. All of them are charged with attempted murder. All of them are charged with possession of a firearm and ammunition. Right? All of them are charged with theft. All of them are charged with all of those charges.
Yes.
So for them to expect that Mnisi shouldn't be asking a certain witness who speaks perhaps on something else that pertains to the incident that happened, when his client is the one who, according to the evidence presented by the state, is said to be the one who was handling the firearm on that night. So he must not ask if there's something that's linking. It's like not asking anything pertaining perhaps other firearms that have been taken because they don't affect accused number 3. Do you see where this is going?
Yeah, it is.
It's like they are creating walls and boundaries.
But I
for their
always,
defense.
I feel like there was a trap from the word go. We were right in saying that Mnisi shouldn't have taken this case. We were so right.
You were right, ne? It feels like this was some kind of a trap. It feels like this is feeling like a trap, in my opinion, and I'm so frustrated because I'm seeing that even the comments coming from people who've never read even a novel in a day. A novel estimate is 500 pages, right? There are even novels that are way shorter than that. People have not, they cannot read, and you don't even know the pace of how you read and what you read for. Some people read, the way you read when you're studying is different to how you read for leisure, right?
Yeah.
So people are now saying he's getting paid, legal aid is paying him, and here he is slacking and not working. And you can even hear with Mbegezeli there putting advocate in the category of lawyers that don't work, lawyers that create excuses, like he's being put in the same umbrella when at least the majority of us who've been watching the trial every day since it started cannot say that about Advocate Mnisi. I cannot say that he's a lazy lawyer. But he's being categorized as those lawyers who would do anything to cause a delay just because as he's reading the transcripts, he's discovering, oh my God, I need more time. Just for that, he's been put under the umbrella of these lawyers who will do any kind of tactic to delay a case because they feel like they need to intimidate or they need to do whatever on the side before the trial starts.
Yeah.
Which is unfair.
It is unfair.
I cannot sit by and keep quiet while I'm seeing all of these aspersions that are being cast on a lawyer that we've seen perform in that court for his client, accused number 3, Mthobisi Mncube. It's unfair. It's unfair, Mr. Anonymous.
Yeah, let us hear, guys. I'm sorry, man, coming up with flu, but let us hear what you guys have to say.
Guys, maybe I'm too emotional and I'm up into my feelings a little too much, but you guys tell me what you think. Here at Mzansi Reality, we're always different from the crowd, right? We don't move with the noise, right? So you guys, tell me what you think. Is Advocate Mnisi lazy? Is Advocate Mnisi creating any kind of excuse to delay the case? I even saw some other comments, Mr. Anonymous, saying that he's lying. Do you think he's lying that he hasn't done
look,
finish?
I'm not gonna answer questions that are stupid, but I'm sorry to say that, but some of the things, they don't deserve answers.
All right, okay. So, guys, you let us know, fair and square. Put yourself in Advocate Mnisi's shoes. Do you think what is happening is just or not? Well, from us here at Mzansi Reality, I guess for me, it's a bye for now, and we will be back with another one later.